All right, good to have you back. Today we're going to talk about a 1-6-4-5 chord progression in the 5 most common keys in open position. This is something that you shouldn't only know theoretically speaking, but you've got to know it, like you've got to adopt it and have a relationship with it, and just know where these things are, because they're essential. Okay, so first of all, the most common keys spell the word caged. That's just an easy way to remember it. More, theoretically sound is to look at it from the perspective of the cycle of fifths, right? So C, G, D, A, and E are the 5 most common keys, open keys on the guitar. And G being a fifth away from C, D being a fifth away from G, A being a fifth away from D, and E being a fifth away from A. If you want to find these keys and you haven't done this before, that's why you have 5 fingers, right? C, D, E, F, G, and G, A, B, C, D, and so on. It's simple. That's just the way nature made it. Okay, and okay, so let's start with the first progression, which I have up here. It's C, A minor, really common, and I'm just sort of hitting on the roots a little bit. So that's a 1-6-4-5. It's a diatonic chord progression, and you've heard it, at least 1,000 times before. Okay, I've got other stuff to say, but let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to a fifth away: C, D, E, F, G. Everybody loves the key of G because everything falls right underneath your fingers, right? That's why we use the key of G so much, because the most common chord progressions fall easily and simply underneath your fingers. Now let's do the same thing, same chord progression, exactly the same deal going on here, except we're changing keys. That's all. And so in the key of D, we've got that. Down to that B minor, right? G. I just played G with most often with just one finger, mute, and I chop out the strings I want, so I'm not hitting that top string. That makes for a nice quick change. And then B minor, I played a B minor 7 sort of by mistake. But same deal. B minor, G, so that's a 1-6-4-5 chord progression in 3 different open keys. Those are, I would say, the simplest keys. Then when you get to A, got that F sharp minor with a bar. D, A, D. Yeah, and the roots jump around a little bit more. Right, with in this key. So there it is. That's 1645 in the key of A, and then finally 1645 in the key of E. All right, and that one you have to sort of move up, so the bass line is like up to C sharp, right? It makes that leap. If we didn't do it that way, I mean, you could play this chord's E. You know, that's cool, but you know, it's a more difficult chord to play, but it's great. Sort of a barred C. And these are all exactly the same progression. So, why learn these? Well, because music is made up of the stuff, especially pop music, but even jazz. But most of the time, jazz is not in these keys, not using chords like this, sort of more open position chords down in in this region of the fretboard. And these chord sounds are more triadic. In jazz, the sounds are more four-note chord sounds, like major sevens and nines and minor sevens and dominant sevens and so on. So each one of these chords is a triad, just a three-note chord, and with duplicated notes. Now, here's a challenge for you. These chord progressions can sound very different if you just change up the tonal center. So if you, instead of starting on the 1, let's say we're in the key of C, no, let's go to the key of G. Instead of starting on the 1, right, we're going to start on the 6 and then go back to the 1. So we're just going to reverse those two. And I just want you to hear how different this can become, right? So there's the chord and there's the tonal center. The reason I play it a few times is just to wipe the blackboard, the sonic blackboard clean. Okay, so here we go. Just reversing those two. Get the idea, right? That's really fun. Right. I mean, it's used a lot. So all of a sudden now we're no longer in the key of G major. We are in the key of E minor because our ears have switched everything around. Because our ears, our mind hears the E minor chord first. It says you're in the key of E minor, and then it hears everything in relative to the E minor. you can take these 1, 6, 4, 5s and mess with the with the order of these chords, and you're going to end up with some really nice, sensible chord progressions, right? I mean, we could go from the E minor. Right, I haven't even gone to the G because I'm, in E minor, but I went from the 6 chord to the 5 chord to the 4 chord. Great, it sounds great, and it can't be wrong. Well, I mean, this is we're looking at this from more of an original writing perspective than learning how to play songs. These chord progressions you're going to hear thousands and thousands of times in other songs. The idea here is giving you a vocabulary of things that you can hear and you can recognize. You can say, "Oh, gee, that sounds like this song," or "Oh, that sounds like that song. Oh, that's just a 1, 6, 4, 5 starting on the 6 chord. Oh, I get it." That's what this is about, and what you have to do is get a relationship happening with these most common keys. And when I say a relationship, that means you just spit them out. They all happen together. You don't even have to think about it. Yeah, sure. If you're starting off, I don't know where you're at, obviously, but if you're starting out, think of counting the keys. Count them on your fingers if you have to, but get it to the point where it's these 4 chords in a certain key. You can just think of them automatically, immediately, and you know what they're going to sound like, and you can start to connect them, which we'll look at in some other videos. Connect them with bass lines, connect them with other ideas. Okay, that's it for this one. Don't forget your cycle of dominance. Keep that in mind all the time. That the 5 fingers, because that's the way music works. That's the way it happens, and you can't get away from it. All the music we listen to in the Western world comes from this little cycle here in one way or another. Okay, that's it for today. If there's anything that you want to learn or want to know, leave us a comment below. Ask questions. We love to answer them. And subscribe. Obviously, those are important things to keep us going. We're getting more subscribers all the time, but it sort of pokes along. And but we're happy. We're happy with the results, and we're happy that a lot of people seem to be getting something, out of this. I mean, if you want to dig in a little deeper to playing this instrument, the foundation is the most important, right? Not learning licks and noodling and stuff is sort of fine, but ultimately what you want to do is build a strong foundation, that strong toolkit that you can use in any style of music, and will speak to whatever direction you want to go. Okay, that's it, and thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you real soon.